Hey, ESPN, I'm Jack. I'm the co-founder of Crack.com.
And I'm Miles, a former lobbyist that loves soccer and gets very nervous when I'm pulled over by the police.
And we're the hosts of The Daily Zeitgeist, a daily comedic news podcast that covers politics, pop culture, and we're both big sports fans. I'm actually named after my grandfather, legendary NBA coach Dr. Jack Ramsey.
Oh, well, I'm named after Miles Davis, a legendary heroin addict who is not my grandfather.
It's not a competition. So search The Daily Zeitgeist on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever fine podcasts are given away for free.
And now, Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN Radio.
When I pop the trunk, head the deck. Y'all pop the trunk, I pop the hood.
Now act stupid, I'll pop the trunk. Give me your boom.
It's Friday. Yeah. He is Jalen Rose.
What up, yo?
I'm David Jacoby.
And on the cool check-in.
And we are Jalen and Jacoby
on the mic
on ESPN Radio. What do we do?
We get the people. What? They want.
You know I'm excited about this because I love drama. The Warriors are slumping. They've lost back-to-back games for the first time in 2 years. What? Curry and Thompson have combined for 10 of 65 from three in the last 3 games.
What?
Are the Warriors vulnerable?
Yes, without Kevin Durant. They won't win the championship with him, in my opinion, regardless, because the Cavs are the favorite. But in order to win the West, they're going to need KD. That's just how this works in sports. And people are going to talk about this is a team that won 73 games and added a former MVP that's now leading them in scoring. This team ain't win 73 games. The team that won 73 games had more size and bulk up front with Bogut and Azili.
Had Harrison Barnes.
Also had Harrison Barnes playing minutes alongside Draymond Green.
Andre Iguodala looked a little different last year, too.
Andre Iguodala and Sean Livingston both have to up their level of play. So now all of a sudden, you give up a lot of will. You give up a lot of the fiber of a basketball team, of course, to add the skill and the greatness of a Kevin Durant. But in a salary cap-driven sport, it depletes your roster in other ways. They're not as deep, they're not as tall, they're not as bulky, they're not as big. So therefore, who's going to play quality minutes at 4 and 5? We know Draymond Green's an all-star.
He'll be there.
But there's question marks everywhere else. McGee.
He's covered in question marks. Head to toe like the Joker.
David West.
Bold.
Zaza Pachulia.
Zaza.
James Michael McAdoo.
Finishing games. Like, this is all cute for stretches.
And now they're still asking to get more from McCall and Clark, who've been making threes, but they're slender. They're
not going to do it under
slender.
the basket. Yeah.
So they have more guard skills. So now it truly does fall on the Splash Brothers to take and make big and tough shots. I don't think that they're going to lose the number 1 seed to the Spurs, even though the Spurs are down 3.5 games, and they play 2 games in San Antonio remaining. Remember, they like to rest players also.
They do.
So it's going to balance itself out.
They do.
But what's going to happen is the Warriors are going to have to overextend their best players via minutes to capture the number 1 seed, which is going to eventually be an issue without KD in the Western Conference playoffs, but definitely once the NBA Finals come.
I want to talk to you a little bit about Curry's shooting because he gets slumpy. He had an 0 for 11 game against the Sixers. I think he had another 0 for 11 game against the Lakers earlier this season. He was just 2 for 11. How does this happen? How does the best pull-up shooter that I've ever seen, that we've ever seen in this game, have these 0 for 11 nights?
When players shoot fast, I've always been fascinated that it goes in frequently.
Like a quick release.
A perfect example for me was when Carmelo, he used to have a slower release. Once he started to shoot threes, he got a faster release. And I remember playing against him, and it was slower, and watching it be faster, and initially thinking, that's off. But he was making them. And it became his jump shot. Now he's expanded his range. Clay and Curry flick the ball so effortlessly with such range and distance, sometimes it barely touches their hand before they letting the ball go. So when you're not shooting well, that compounds it. When you're able to slow down, take a deep breath, line up the ball, if you leave him open for those, he'll get hot quick. And so what teams aren't doing is giving them uncontested shots. They make contested shots with the best of them, as you just mentioned. They're the Splash Brothers. But when you're not getting as many, without KD, dribble penetration, creating for himself, kicking it to you. Without Draymond Green consistently being able to do it because he's having to go against the 4 and the 5 on given nights. Now those shots become a little bit tougher. They'll get out of those slumps. We'll see both of those guys explode, but this is how it takes place during the 82-game season.
I don't want to overreact to just a couple games, but I'm going to overreact to just a couple games. I thought when KD went down that this was going to be an opportunity for Steph Curry to reestablish himself to that sort of like, I'll carry the team. I got this, guys. Don't worry about it. I led the team last year and the year before, 2-time MVP. I'm just going to ratchet up my scoring. And you know what? This is actually going to be good for me leading into the playoffs, a confidence builder. Could that actually work the other way? Could it be, I'm Steph Curry. It's the end of this season. Now KD's out. I have to shoulder more of the load. I have to use more of my energy. And I might be a little burnt out when the playoffs come.
I think what you anticipate should happen is going to happen. We're not going to be having this conversation long. They've only lost back-to-back games for the first time in years. They still have the best record in the league. And just like last year when they won 73, everyone, don't forget, the San Antonio Spurs won 68. So they're going to be there anyway.
Yep.
Whether KD's in or out. They're going to rest their players and manage their minutes regardless of the standings. Now, did the Clippers, the Rockets, and San Antonio get an extra bounce in practice when they found out KD was going to be out for a period of time? They're like, wait a minute, let me look at them standings again.
Wait.
Who do they play?
Who? Does anybody have the standings?
That's just how this goes. But the bottom line is they're going to lock up the number 1 seed. They're going to play against the Nuggets. I know I've been saying this prematurely. I'm surprised nobody has tried to correct me. I guess everybody agrees. Whether you're a Portland fan or a Sacramento fan.
They're going to play the Nuggets.
That's who we think is going to be in. And what are they big guys called?
The Birch Brothers.
And with that being said, I think they can beat the Nuggets with or without KD.
Absolutely. I don't think you're going to get much pushback.
And if we're giving him 4 weeks to reevaluate, that's going to be another 2 to 4 weeks before he actually has to play at an elite level again.
I know you love statues. I know you love lobsters. One thing I know you hate, ear-hustling Uber drivers.
Yes.
So let's imagine that you are an ear-hustling Uber driver.
Waiters and waitresses.
You are an ear-hustling Uber driver in the back of your car, Kyrie and LeBron. And Kyrie says, LeBron, you see what's happening with the Warriors lately? What does LeBron say?
He's like, where that Godfather book? Get it out of my duffel bag. Let me teach you something, young fella. There's a reason why I'm trying to get on this Mount Rushmore. You see how Duncan and Kobe came through the league and won more championships than me? Well, they're retired now. And now, since I'm the dude that just brought a chip to the land, this is what I'm about to do. I'm about to shape my narrative. So I can't be dealing with that, Charles. I don't need you talking about what I'm trying to make happen in Cleveland. Okay? Let me shape what's going on here. Not only am I a mogul off the court, but I said in January, we need more playmakers, right? You see us get Darren Williams, young fella? Hey, I said that we need to add our final roster spots. You see Derek Williams out there balling, young fella? What you think about us getting Bogut? I know you like that. You know we gonna get JR back. You know we gonna get Love back. I want them 100% healthy because we can now handle them. This is one of the only times that you can say this in sports. LeBron James, the best player, also has the best roster. Not just the best co-pilot in Kyrie, not just the best starting 5, not the best backcourt or the best up front or the best bench.
Didn't feel true last year.
They have the best team, 1 through 15 in basketball. I anticipate that they're going to win this year's championship.
And then Kyrie Irving leans over, cracks the window, looks at LeBron and says, I'm sorry, I just farted. It's not a binary world, Jalen Rose. It's not a black and white world. It's not a yes or no world. There's a lot of gray areas. We explore those gray areas with a segment we call 0 to 100. First question, a little bit of a don't get fired question. 0 to 100. How much do you understand this Reggie Bush scandal?
50%.
I don't really understand it all either. Let me try to just map out what I do understand. Reggie Bush is married, and congratulations to Mr. Bush. He just announced that they're expecting a 3rd child. However, there's apparently another woman involved. And this other woman, allegedly, he paid her $3 million to have an abortion that she allegedly did not have, and now has a baby that is Reggie Bush's? Maybe. Does that make sense to you?
No.
It sounds like he's got a lot of explaining to do.
Well, what it sounds like is he was being extorted after getting someone pregnant.
Also sounds like he was being unfaithful.
Once he and that individual agreed that she would get an abortion, I don't know if they put it in writing or she violated that agreement.
If I get a pack of gum at the store, they give me a receipt, and that costs 65 cents. If I'm paying someone $3 million, there's some writing involved. There's some paperwork involved.
You hope so?
And we don't know if this actually happened. This has all been reported on the websites we like to go to that aren't exactly the New York Times.
So I only understand it partially.
50%.
Because she's also married, from what I know.
Yes.
And the last time I checked, if she's married to someone and he's married to someone, it's not good for either couple that this is an issue.
I'd be real, just if my wife walked in the door with a duffel bag full of $3 million, I would have some follow-up questions. I would have a lot of follow-up questions. Let's move on. 0 to 100, how much do you care about NFL prospects 40 times, drill scores, Wonderlic tests, all of this combine sort of quantifying an athlete?
I care when it's going to be the next Andrew Luck.
So 0 to 100, how much do you care?
20%?
Me, I'm like lower. Like none of this really matters to me. And I find myself getting caught up in it, like the Leonard Fournette stuff today. Like, oh, he's a little heavy. He's not jumping that high, but his 40 time is good. And like I found myself judging Leonard Fournette on that until I took a step back and I was like, you know what I'm going to think about Leonard Fournette? I'm going to remember all the yards he ran on the football field.
The reason why I say 20%, because as a fan of the collegiate game and the pro game, you want to see the skills that you watched on Saturdays translate to Sundays. Mm-hmm. So I like to ear hustle some of the things that come out of the combine, but it's not something that we're going to make a segment on our show because it's not a necessary evil for the fans. That's more for people that evaluate talent and see if they're going to fit into the dynamic of their team or not.
I feel like it has a function in the drafting process for sure. I'm just not sure that it deserves to be covered like the Summer Olympics. 0 to 100. How delusional is Derrick Rose when he says that he's going to start shooting threes in the playoffs?
80%.
That's it?
They're in the East.
There are 4 teams ahead of them.
What are they?
Spot.
Who are they? I'm not going to make you name them. I'm not going to wait for somebody to tell you in your ear. Because they're in the East. And what are they? Probably only a handful of games out of the final spot.
I'll tell you all the details.
So
right now.
I'm not.
They're currently in the 12th spot. Charlotte, Milwaukee, Miami, and Detroit is in the 8th spot.
How many wins?
They're not going to make the playoffs. They have 25 wins. Detroit has 29 wins.
They're not making the playoffs.
They're not making the playoffs.
Like I said, 80%.
0 to 100. How much should the NBA consider just not giving a Rookie of the Year this year?
0%. It's just in the fabric and the integrity of the game, because I understand that Joel Embiid, if projected, is hands down the winner, but you can't dismiss that there are other rookies still playing basketball in the league, which would have been the normal rookie class with Ben Simmons.
It's a great point.
Had Embiid not missed the last 2 seasons anyway.
Like, he's not really a rookie. Brogdon, Saric, Murray, Hernan Gomez, none of those
Yogi
are
Ferrell.
Inspiring performances from any of them. 0 to 100. I want you to be honest on this one.
Inspiring performances for rookies. It's all it means, something to come in and get your name in the paper.
Yogi Ferrell's been inspiring. 0 to 100, be honest. How much of Dirk's announced intention to play his 20th season next year is financially motivated?
I think he loves the game. He really loves getting paid, especially these lost tape Mavs years. 75%.
75%?
Here's why. Say he was going to get the league minimum next year. Would he play?
No.
Thank you.
It just seems like the Mavs are not going to be in contention next year. I'm sorry, Dallas fans. You know, they're not going to be in contention for a championship. Sorry, Mark Cuban. Like, you can holler at all the bloggers you want, Mark Cuban, but you're not going to be hollering at the Larry O'Brien Trophy. No. So if you're Dirk, you're looking at a full another season of practices and games and travel that's going to be probably around 500. Just seems like a lot. 75% financially motivated?
Sure. He's playing what type of basketball?
Professional basketball.
Yes.
Dater of rappers, Lyra Galore, is claiming that the male figure in her recently leaked sex tape is not Lance Stevenson.
Hit the brakes.
0 to 100.
I want you to cook on this.
0 to 100. 0 to 100.
You all.
What chance do you think it is him? 30% chance it's him. I didn't do the research I normally do on these topics because this was just a little too far. You know, I didn't want to get fired. I didn't want to get a call from HR and they say, well, we noticed some of your internet history and who is Lyra Galore? I didn't want that to happen. But clearly his face isn't in it. So Lance is a free agent. You can't have the first thing that comes up in Google News when a GM puts in your name into Google. You can't have sex tape be the first thing that comes up. So if it was him, I'm sure he gave Ms. Galore a call and said, here's what you're going to say. And if it wasn't him, I'm a little curious why he's not more vocal about denying that it's not him. That's all I have to say.
I didn't see the excerpt or the tape, so I'll defer to you on this.
I didn't see it either.
Oh, okay. Because I was going to ask you, does it look like him? Like, I wonder why, of all of the people that are walking the face of the earth,
people think it's him.
That people think it's him.
I don't think I'm going to do the research on this one, Jalen. You know we don't research too much around here. Last question, 0 to 100. How weird does Bill Belichick chew?
80%. Looks like a squirrel.
He looks like a rabbit chewing that thing. Like, we've got video of him at the combine with some tiny little binoculars. He looks like he's eating like an apple crisp or something, and he chews with his front teeth quickly. It's really odd.
I bet Phil Jackson look at Bill Belichick like, man, that dude work hard.
No, Phil Jackson's looking at Bill Belichick like, God, all that chewing looks like hard work. Jalen Rose, there's a lot of news in the world. A lot of news is covered. We cover a lot of it. But however, in this segment, I will tell you something that happened. You will tell me to keep moving or hit the brakes. Are you ready, Mr. Rose?
Let's get it.
The Hawks added veteran point guard Jose Cal.
We be moving, you know, we keep it moving.
UFC fighter was hospitalized, making weight for a fight this weekend.
I don't want to be inconsiderate to the fact that those fighters and a lot of athletes put their bodies through a lot of trials and tribulations to make weight and or to compete, but that's not something we want to talk about in this program.
We be moving, you know, we keep it moving.
The Jets released wide receiver Brandon Marshall after 2 seasons.
He's still a productive player. We're not going to talk about all of the teams he could potentially go to, so keep it moving.
The Tony Romo market is taking.
We be moving, you know, we keep it moving.
Leonard Fournette ran a 4-point.
Keep it moving.
We be moving, you know, we keep it moving.
A drunken Ed Sheeran once tried hitting a golf ball out of Justin Bieber's mouth.
What?
Keep it moving.
Oh, come on. Adam Wainwright bought a rental car for Cardinals prospect after noticing him walking everywhere at spring training.
You bought him a rental car. Keep it moving.
Jalen, that was a good one. Derrick Rose admitted that he is still getting used to the Knicks triangle offense.
Pump the brakes. So let me get this right. D Rose is going to shoot threes in the playoffs.
I love that he said he's going to shoot threes in the playoffs.
What? And he's still trying to get familiar with the triangle.
It's on the super team that is the Knicks. And one day he just didn't go to a game.
They're 12th
didn't really explain
East.
it, and didn't tell his boss that he wasn't going to make it.
That team, here's what happens when you have a bunch of veterans that understand their future isn't currently with the franchise they play for.
You don't think Derrick Rose feels that way, do you?
You think they trying to be in the AFC and get swept by the Cavs?
No.
Did Carmelo Anthony say that he was done for the year yet? Resting up for
it's
next
March
year?
3rd. I have that on my calendar right around March 8th every year.
Gotcha.
Can you make that prediction right now? Just do it.
Well, Melo tendonitis in the elbow between now and March 15th.
No, it's a knee tendonitis.
Oh, okay.
Sore knee.
Some tendonitis.
He's going down. I would say next Wednesday.
We ain't gonna say going down because KD
I'm
went
sorry.
down.
That's a great point. I'm sorry. I apologize to our listeners, and I apologize to Carmelo.
Yes.
Carmelo is going to.
He's a veteran.
He's
been around the block a long time.
We'll make him unavailable for the rest of the season.
And when you play basketball as long
Next
as he
Wednesday.
played, you have aches and pains regardless.
Mm-hmm.
Because of those aches and pains and that tendonitis and those issues, so he can be 100% next year. This time, this month, say by March 15th, he's going to just decide, you know what? I'll just sit these rest of the games out.
This is flaring up. This is really flaring up. You know what? I'll sit the rest of these games out. And then he texts LeBron, trade for me in the offseason. The Steelers are working on a new deal for Le'Veon Bell.
Hit the brakes quick. It's only a couple of top backs. And if you look at the landscape of the league a few years ago, people were dismissing the quality of running backs in the league, in particular calling them not three-down backs. Mm-hmm. Well, if you've noticed, Johnson in Arizona, Ezekiel Elliott with the Cowboys, Le'Veon Bell, they are now amongst the new running backs that are changing that dynamic as we know it. So if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, he's one of the killer bees on your squad. You must keep him in tow, especially after you took care of Antonio Brown.
My thing is, I don't want to hear that you're working on a deal and then not get a deal. Like that seems it's a little funky. You know, if you're Le'Veon Bell and you know that your agents are talking to the team and there's been multiple meetings and they've gone back and forth a few times, then all of a sudden the agent comes back to you and says, oh, yeah, we couldn't work something out, but have a good season. That would be concerning for me. The Blazers are 16-2 in their sleeved jerseys.
Keep it moving.
We be moving, you know we keep it moving.
The NBA is going to invest more in their referees.
Keep it moving.
We be moving, you know we keep it moving.
A&M quarterback Trevor Knight worked out with...
We be moving, you know we keep it moving.
Ty Lawson said the Kings are playing like the Wild Wild West.
How long he been there?
Let's hit the brakes on that one. I'm hitting the brakes on that one. First of all, Ty Lawson, what do you mean by the Wild Wild West? Like I feel like it means with no rules and in chaps. Like what is this? He just got there, so how does he even know what they're playing like?
That's
and he didn't play
going.
because he had too many tacos. I think the Kings are free. I'm predicting the Kings play well the rest of this year in the absence of Boogie, feeling like the Boogie is off their back. No?
No.
You don't think so?
No.
You don't think Will Cauley-Stein and Ty Lawson are going to lead them to victories?
Willie Cauley-Stein did have a couple of good games.
He has been turning it up lately. Yeah, he's been turning it up lately.
Yes, he did. Wrong example. They need to see Buddy Hield do something. The guy the owner said reminds him of one Steph Curry.
Well, he's been shooting better than Steph Curry in the 3 games that he's been with the Kings.
Okay, how much is he averaging in those 3 games?
I don't know. I'll just say 15 points.
Okay.
Because no one's going to fact check me. The Rams have revealed revamped uniforms after a fan vote.
Man, keep it moving.
We be moving,
Please.
you know we keep it moving.
Patriots Rob Kraft and Tom Brady celebrate with Drew Bledsoe's wine.
Hit the brakes quick. The reason why had Bledsoe not gotten injured, Brady wouldn't have got in there and they wouldn't have got 5
People
championships.
forgot about that.
So
That's one of the reasons.
Drew, we going to, like Wu-Tang, my C's, go with his C's, marry his C's,
Yep.
like the Bidens.
Exactly.
How we keep Wu-Tang money all up in the family.
I have a couple things on this. Number one, I know how Tom Brady feels. That's why he doesn't get injured. You know what I mean? Because he knows that once you get injured, someone else comes in. That's another reason that David Jacoby is always on Jalen Jacoby. One day I'm gone, in comes someone else, and next thing you know, Jalen Rose and Michael Rappaport. Another thing is this, and you can say this, you can answer this better than I can because you're rich. What is it with rich people having wines? Like, what is it about wines? Like, once all of a sudden you get enough zeros in your bank account, you're like, I need to start a line of wines. Like, why is Francis Ford Coppola? He's got more bottles of wine than he does movies.
You're going to like this reason. It's people thinking that I'm my number one customer, so I'm going to invest in something that I do a lot of, which is why you'll see somebody like Drake open a strip club. Or Floyd Mayweather open a strip club. I'm spending thousands and grands up in here anyway.
There's no one that's the only people that have been in these establishments more than me are strippers.
Correct.
I
So
just
look at
don't.
it that way.
I don't understand why rich people buy wine. I also don't understand this move, the horse. You know when rich people do that? They're like, "Oh, I've just got a ranch with a horse on it in my backyard.
No.
I gotta give it some hay."
Just polo for me.
Greg Popovich calls Kevin Durant's injury awful.
It is. I agree.
Let's keep it moving on that.
We
One.
be moving, you know, we keep it moving.
Monty Kiffin is leaving the Jaguars to join son Lane at Florida Atlantic.
Keep getting them checks. But keep it moving.
We be moving, you know, we keep it moving.
Tony Romo has
Keep it
joined.
We be moving, you know, we keep it moving.
Johnny Manziel was in.
Keep
We be moving, you know, we keep it
moving.
moving.
Lou Williams was previously on the Lakers. Apparently, Nick Young owed him some money. Lou Williams was traded to the Rockets, and now Nick Young is saying that that debt is no longer because you were traded. What? I've never gambled on in an NBA locker room or on an NBA plane. Something tells me that you have some experience with this. Does the debt go to zero when you get traded from the team?
Give me my money.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Give me my money.
Will Nick Young pay Lou Williams when they play each other?
Oh, he gonna pay. Because this is not like, this is the opposite of what takes place in the streets. Because these guys are all millionaires, literally.
Yes.
So there is no reason why you should not, cannot, and will not pay me my money. It's going to take place.
So here's the thing about Nick Young is he's kind of silly, you know, and I kind of feel like he likes that this is becoming a thing on social media, and he could just, let's just say it's $1,000. Who knows how much it is? He could just bring that $1,000 to the game and hand it over. But I think he likes the saga. He likes that it continues to keep going, and I think his silliness is going to lead to Lou Williams not getting his money.
Let me show you what that leads to. There was a guy that the Jets took in the first round or second round to play quarterback, and you haven't seen him since he got his jaw broken. Trivia question. Please don't tell him in his ear.
I know the answer.
What's his name?
Geno Smith.
Okay. Ain't seen him since.
IK went to the Bills.
$600.
$600 for a flight.
But just think about this. That cost him an opportunity to be a starting quarterback. And he ain't been back on the field since. So this is not that extreme, clearly, with Nick and Lou Williams. He has to pay. He will pay.
Do you pay
But
all
he
your debts?
Of course. But he just likes the social media thing to be out there.
How many times have we been in this room when you've thrown around bets with the production staff and nobody paid anybody for them?
We still owe for fantasy football.
We have a fantasy football.
How
that was
much?
a $25 league. I think I'm the only person on the whole entire staff that has paid that debt. What? See Jalen reaching his pocket. Claims that
That's for me and 3 staff members.
You carry around too much cash. I worry about you. You know? I worry about you. Martellus Bennett has released the date that he will release his album. What? A week from today, March 10th. Will you be copying Martellus Bennett's album?
Martellus Bennett, the tight end
Yes.
for the Patriots?
Yes. Album release date on the streets.
You know what? I'm gonna go a different angle for you.
Oh, okay.
Because I like him and Michael Bennett. I think
I
they're
love the
really
Bennett brothers.
versed.
I love the Bennett brothers.
I would think that his album isn't gonna be what we expect. It's gonna be more like
Stand
Dead
Up.
Poets.
I think it's gonna be like stand up. I think it's gonna be like an Eddie Murphy album. Remember Eddie Murphy had his album? What was his hot song? Eddie Murphy had a hot song. Oh, I forgot the name of the song.
My
Party,
girl
yes.
wants to
Party all the time. Oh, I love that song.
I think it's gonna be like Dead Poets. I think it's gonna have some knowledge. I don't think it's gonna be silly.
Dead Poet Society?
Dead Poets Society.
Uh-oh.
Brace yourself. Jalen Rose is about to explain a movie plot.
Jalen Rose, explain the plot for Dead Poet Society. I'm so excited for this.
I haven't seen it.
What? First of all, that never stopped you before.
Okay, here you go. So basically, there's somebody that's really into poetry.
Yeah, yep.
They're so enthusiastic that they want to acknowledge the all-time greats. And what's the best way to do it? You dig up their literature.
Yep.
You get that literature, you take it a step further. You go to their grave sites.
Dig up the poets.
And you go to the actual dead poets' grave sites.
And dig them up.
What?
And now they become a society.
The Dead Poets Society.
Dead Poets Secret Society.
I thought you hadn't seen the movie. We'll stay with movies for a second. Hugh Jackman is playing Wolverine. You know Hugh Jackman, right?
Yes, indeed.
And to study for his role of Wolverine, he studied wolves because he didn't know a Wolverine was a real animal.
What?
Did you know a Wolverine was a real animal before you went to Ann Arbor?
Well, I'm from Detroit, so I actually did. I was a fan of
Are
it for
there
a long
real
time.
Wolverines in Michigan?
I'm not sure about that.
Have you ever seen a Wolverine in real life?
I have not.
Are they as scary as they sound?
I think so, because I represent them.
Okay.
And a lot of other alums out there. And current students.
I showed you a video that has been sweeping the internet because it is one of the most bizarre things I've ever seen. There's a gentleman who looks like he's driving, listening to Rihanna, and there's a cat carcass in the middle of the road. What is surrounding the cat carcass, Mr. Rose?
Are they ducks?
Turkeys. Those are turkeys.
Turkeys?
Wild turkeys. I counted 19 wild turkeys walking in a circle around a cat carcass.
What?
Is it the creepiest thing you've ever seen?
Yep.
It's weird because it almost reminded me of a breakdancing battle.
What?
Like everybody make a circle. Back
Yes,
up.
indeed.
Back up. Make a circle.
That's what it reminded me of when I saw it.
Was just in a backspin.
Yes, indeed.
Is that what they thought it was?
No
they
doubt.
thought that cat
They
was
got
just up
Pecs
rocking
getting in the middle, and
wanting
Mr.
the floor
Wave,
working,
and Lil Lep.
and then they're waiting for the cat to pop up and start, up rocking.
Then Lee jumps in and do his backspin.
A drone crashed through the window of a 27th floor apartment in New York City. I have been harassed at my home by a drone, just coming and peeping on my family. How are we going to police these drones?
There was a gentleman, I think, in Ohio where a drone was peeping in his backyard at his daughter who was sunbathing, and he shot it out of the air.
Why LeBron got to do that? JaVale McGee went on stage with Second City Improv Troupe while in Chicago to play the Bulls. Would you ever do improv?
Yes. We've talked about this before.
No, we haven't.
We did.
What did we say?
That you were a former comedian.
Mm-hmm.
That you were really passionate about it. I'm excellent at freestyling. We felt like we could collaborate. Put me in front of a microphone on a stage because Blake Griffin had done it, and see if I could actually do it. You don't remember that conversation?
That was about stand-up comedy. Improv's a little different, but I do remember that conversation. And I would love nothing more than us to film you doing just an 8-minute set at a comedy club. I will guarantee, I can affect this. I will make sure that you are good. We will do this. The producers in the control room are so excited about this idea.
And we putting it on wax.
In 2004, coyote hunters spotted a wolverine near Ubley, Michigan. It's about 90 miles north of Detroit. It's the first wolverine spotted in Michigan since the 1700s. You learn things here on Jalen Jacoby. You remember when Jeannie Buss fired her brother?
Yes.
And the PR guy that's been there for decades and brought
John
in
Black?
Magic Johnson. Do you remember that?
Yes, indeed.
Well, we were like, don't worry about Jim Buss. I know it's a little awkward, but he's still an owner of the team. He's still worth $600 million approximately. He'll be fine. We thought it was just business. But their sibling thing would work itself out. Well, there's new information. Looks like Jim Buss and Johnny Buss attempted to have Jeannie Buss removed from the Lakers organization.
What?
Through the court. brothers filing a court motion against their sister to have her removed from the Lakers organization, thus undoing what she has done recently.
So this is what makes it interesting to me. There are 6 Buss children that co-own 60% of the Lakers. The 3 trustees, however, are Jeannie, Johnny, and Jim. So while Jeannie has been the face and probably holds the title, they always thought because it was 2 out of 3, would have the votes to control the trust. That's the true issue. In their head, when I say I'm going to step down, I really don't have to step down because me and my brother own 2/3. You can't push me out. But she did it anyway. So not only sometimes I say this, I think it was Styles P or Jada, blood and money don't mix. What we see here is she, as beloved as she is by the public, he is the opposite as it relates to popularity because he became the face of Lakers disaster years. They put that all on him.
But the law is on Jeannie's side, so they've withdrawn this because they put it in the paperwork that Jeannie sort of like had the controlling interest with the Lakers, which I find really interesting. Just to like take a 10,000-foot view on it is, as a parent, when you have to make these decisions, you have to decide which one of your kin sort of like can overthrow the other's wishes, which is a really interesting position to be in as a parent.
I look at it different. Look at it as though you love all of your kids equal, but in this business endeavor, who do I think is going to carry out my vision the best? Because ultimately, he was the owner of the team that's passing it down to them.
I don't have these problems because I'm not rich, but it's just really interesting because that would make me so salty if my father was like, oh, you guys all have the same amount in the stake, but you know what? Your sister's going to make all the decisions.
It can't be mutually exclusive. Like, ultimately, somebody has to be the president, somebody has to be the CEO, somebody has to be the lead decision maker. And I would think, based on their relationships, not that he was necessarily picking favorites, because he still gave all of them 66% of the team. That's the most important thing. We still owners. So you can bring in whoever you want to bring in. But I'm still, how much you say he's worth?
$3 billion, the second most valuable franchise in the NBA.
And what's 6 into $3 billion? $500 million.
There you go.
Okay? So they're all eating. And so with that, you have to make someone the lead domino, and in this case, it became her.
I'm pretty sure we got the math wrong, but I'm too dumb to figure it out. So we'll just keep going. Mike D'Antoni had this to say about the Lakers and their issues. This is interesting. Your man Mike D'Antoni said this, quote, I really liked working with Mitch Kupchak and Jim Buss. They weren't the problem. What is Mike D'Antoni doing?
He's basically saying Jeannie was.
Sounds like a little bit.
No, it doesn't sound like it.
Sounds like a little bit. He's over there at Houston winning, Coach of the Year candidate. Someone just puts a mic in front of him and is like, hey, so what do you think about what's going on in the Lakers? He's like, you know what? Mitch and Jim weren't the problem.
We truly don't know the dynamics of how deals were brought and or who shot them down. And also, again, he became the face of the Lakers' dysfunction while she still had the most power.
It's interesting how that works. Perception is reality. Perception is reality. Oh, Jim Buss, he's the one who said, I'm going to turn this around in 2 or 3 years. And Jeannie all of a sudden was like, okay, you're the employee and I'm the boss. So if you don't turn around, then your head's going to roll. And hers was never on the chopping block. It's interesting. I hope I get so rich that I have these problems with my children.
You will. You are.
I noticed that you're wearing transitional lenses, Jalen.
I am.
Explain to the people what transitional lenses are.
Basically, transitional lenses, they adjust to the environment. So if I'm outside and it's really sunny, the glasses are going to be dark. When I'm indoors like this, when it's a lot of light, they should be transparent as possible.
Transitional lenses, soft move or boss move?
Boss move. Here's why. Because people rock glasses all of the time, just like they rock clothes, but sometimes they rock them out of season. So when I see people indoors at a game or on television and they're wearing dark shades, to me that's like seeing someone in the middle of winter wearing open-toe shoes. It's just out of season. So when you have transitional lenses, it adjusts to the environment.
You would never wear sunglasses at night, right?
Yes, I will.
Okay.
If I didn't want people to see my eyes.
We did a poll here
And also-
in the control room.
I want to hear the poll.
Okay. We've got 1 vote for soft from Bristol, 1 vote for soft from me. Control room, what are you guys at? How many votes for boss move? 1 vote for boss move.
They're transitional. They adapt to the environment.
We're going to transition.
So what do you guys like? What do you guys like better? To see people. So would you guys like it better if I was wearing super dark shades?
Here's the problem. My wife has transitional lenses. They're in between a lot. So they end up just looking like weirdly tinted lenses. If they just had 2 settings from completely transparent to completely dark, I could rock with them. But what ends up being is this halfway. I can kind of see your eyes, but it's weird.
No such things as halfway crooks. And our staff is 3 boss, 2 soft.
It's 3 and 3 because they didn't count Bristol. So we are 50-50. Transitional lenses, very controversial on Jalen Jacoby. Yep. We have a voicemail line. If you call 985-80-JALEN, you can leave us a voicemail. One of our favorite things, this new segment. Let's listen to the first voicemail from you, our listeners.
Jalen Jacoby, in response to the caller who wanted an MLB preview, I can tell you correctly, I am also a human, and what I want is to not do an MLB preview. No offense to that kind man, but we cover baseball from the start of spring training all the way through, and there's like 3 months of sports where it's only baseball, man. Like, there's no lack of baseball coverage, so please give the people, i.e. me, what they want, and don't do any MLB preview, please. Thank you.
No, I don't want this to be a controversy. You know what I mean? But here's the thing, is the person that did ask for the MLB preview, they did something that was really smart that this caller did not do. He said, you give the people what they want, and then what did he say, Jalen Rose? He said, I'm a person.
The other
We don't know if that second caller is a person or not. It's unclear. In terms of an MLB preview, I don't think we'll do a full month like we did in the Grantland days with the NBA preview. We'll do a little something on it. We'll weave in the baseball stories as we always do.
Here's what we're not going to do. Force topics.
Nope.
Whether it's baseball, especially football. We know our network has the draft.
Covering the combine.
Hey, man, let me tell you something.
Covering the combine like it's the Summer Olympics.
Correct. Like, let me tell you something. There won't be a meaningful football game that happens between now and September. So we're not going to be just talking about offensive linemen getting their contract.
Leonard Fournette doesn't jump as high as Derrick Henry.
Thanks so much for the call. Appreciate it. Let's listen to the next voicemail.
Jalen Jacoby, what up? It's John. I'm calling from Carusa, Guinea in West Africa. I've been playing some basketball out here, and none of these kids have ever played basketball before in their life. It's kind of difficult to teach them. But question, what do you think is the easiest sport to learn? Love the show. Keep it up, guys. And, thanks a lot. Cheers.
First of all, we love the international college.
Yes, indeed.
Shout out to John in West Africa.
I like when people with passports have to call in.
I also love the idea that he is playing basketball with people that have just never been exposed to the sport before. Just
That's
spreading the sport.
Yes, indeed.
His question, though, I have kind of an annoying answer for. His question is, what is the easiest sport to learn? It's kind of an annoying answer. It's kind of like a riddle. Track. You know? Like it's the most simple sport. That's why I find the 100-yard dash one of the most exciting sort of events in sport, because it's just so simple. It's, can you get there as faster than I can? There's no rules. It's just like, can you run to that spot faster than I can? That's easy sport. Let's listen to the next voicemail.
Jalen and Jacoby, it's Robert calling in again from La Habra, California. Been a big supporter of the show for years, and this question is for Jacoby. Why is your tie clip so high in the logo? Thanks, guys. Keep giving the people what they want.
That's a great question. This logo is a hot topic of debate for us. First of all, let me just give you a little backstory about the logo. Jalen Rose was absolutely obsessed with the creation and recreation and recreation and recreation of this logo. Why was this so important to you, Jalen?
The same reason why Jumpman is important to Michael Jordan.
I just want to put on the record that Michael Jordan has never dunked like that in his life. I just want to put that. He has never done that in his life. People, when he jumped from the free throw, watch that clip. He does not spread his legs. But anyway, continue. Why was this so important to you?
Because we were in the trunk. Mm-hmm. We were trying to eventually get some of the opportunities that we're getting now, whether it's having a nationally syndicated radio show, 7 to 9 Eastern, on Sirius Radio, or also be on television, which we are on ESPN2 and ESPN News. I knew the day was coming. Mm-hmm. So I wanted us to be looking good when it happened.
So we do look good, except it does look like someone took scissors to my tie. And the truth behind that is the original logo cut off right where the tie cuts off, but then they expanded the logo, and whoever expanded the logo did not complete my tie. But our crack staff here has put tape on my tie here in the studio. Thank you so much for the call, Robert. Appreciate it. This is the next voice.
What about he asked you about your hairline on the logo?
What up, Joe? This is Michael from Charlotte. I got a question regarding LeBron and The Godfather. Do you think that he's constantly bringing it up to try and subliminally convince people to give him the nickname The Godfather? Or kind of like George Costanza and T-Bone? Or do you think it's just him wanting us to think that he really, really loves this movie? Love the show. Keep giving people what they want.
I love that, Michael.
Me too.
I kind of love that.
Me too.
He can't. LeBron James is at a stature where he can't come out with his own nickname. He's not Nick Young. He can't do that. And he knows the game. He can't do that. But
off wax, if he's walking around consistently with books and talking about the movie, that's something teammates will call you.
It's really interesting. He might be trying to plant this seed that we call him the Godfather, but he's got a great nickname. He's the king.
The chosen one?
He's King James. King James is a great nickname. That's a great nickname. It just makes sense. It's his last name and not his first name. I like it a lot. King James. But I do like Michael's idea. He is definitely trying to make us call him the Godfather. I'm not doing that.
Not going to be able to do it.
Let's listen to the next voice.
Come on, Jalen. You got to give Jacoby what he wants. Hey, get off the phone, please. He's asking you nicely. Come on. Let's get off the phone. Just 2 minutes. Get off the phone, man. Later, guys. Keep getting them checks. Love what you do.
I love so many things about this call. First of all, the throat clear at the beginning. You get points for that.
That was very
nice. The long
nice
pause between the throat clear and then the come on, Jalen. And then he mentions that you got to get off the phone. And here's a couple things he's got wrong, though. I don't ask nicely. I probably asked nicely 4 years ago. It's not nice anymore. And it's not just 2 minutes, it's 2 hours. And we all know that not looking at your phone for 2 hours is tricky. But I feel personally disrespected every time you're on your phone while we're doing the show. And the audience should feel the same way. You're broadcasting this out live to dozens of people. And then it goes on television to another dozen people. And then the podcast is downloaded by another dozen people. You're disrespecting all of those people by not giving 100% of the time.
I want to say this as respectful as possible.
Whatever you're about to say is going to be disrespectful, so you probably shouldn't.
I don't care what you think.
That's not respectful. That's not respectful at all. That's the opposite of respectful.
In all honesty, thank you for the call. I appreciate the love.
That wasn't that love, much love.
Jacoby's my brother, and he could tell me what he wants anytime he wants, and I should shut up and listen. However, anytime you hear my throat being cleared, that's not on me. That's on the fine people that edit this program.
Oh, listen to you. What? Oh, my.
Now, that could easily be taken out.
I thought you were just going to start by disrespecting me, and I'm fine with that. I'm fine with you disrespecting me, but you can't disrespect the great people of this program. I also want to point out that noise you just heard, that was my phone going off.
I was going to go there. That's one. So anytime there's mistakes on the show,
don't you dare.
Wrong names,
don't
wrong
you dare.
teams,
Jalen Rose, don't do that. Don't do that. You know what? You're a professional.
Putting my
you're
earpiece
a professional.
in and out.
Oh, it's so hard.
Since y'all want to
oh
put
my
that
God,
call
it's so hard to use people's names appropriately.
No, these are the people that made
so
that
hard
caller.
As a professional broadcaster to have facts, to know what you're talking about.
100% of the times, I'm not an encyclopedia. I'm going to get things wrong. I'm not Google.
Spell encyclopedia.
I don't feel like it.
Yeah, that's what I figured. What are we doing on the show, Jalen Rose? Part of giving the people what they want is opening up our 1-800-FLOWERS Twitter feed and taking questions from you, our listeners. We have some questions. Are you ready, Mr. Rose?
Yes, indeed.
This is from Jason. This is interesting. If you had to wear the same basketball jersey all day, every day, whose would it be? Can't be your own.
Magic, Isaiah, Bird.
If you had to pick one.
All equal.
If you had to pick one.
Isaiah.
I think that's more appropriate for you to be wearing a Pistons jersey. This is a great question. It's from You Know What I'm Saying. You Know What I'm Saying has this question for you. If a child is holding a burger and it falls on the ground, do you laugh?
Yes.
I do too. And your laughter makes them cry harder. Then what do you do?
Buy them another burger.
I probably pick that one up, see how damaged it is.
No, you get them. No, you can't double down. If you're laughing, you gotta
get another
spoil
burger.
them. Then you gotta give them the burger. You gotta get them the ice cream. You gotta hook them up. But the quantifier, I guess, is who is the child? Is this a stranger?
I mean, yeah, that's a good.
Is this one of your children? Is it a niece or a nephew?
Do you
How old
laugh
are they?
harder if it's a stranger or if it's your own child?
Right.
You probably laugh harder if it's your own child.
Right. It's so many variables.
Yep. Oh, remember when Meek Mill fell down the stairs? That's one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
He put it out there. He wasn't sure.
Young Sir Dez needs some help, and he came to the right place for this one. Help. How does a non-morning person go about mastering the morning?
Well, it starts the night before.
That's what I was about to say. If you're not a morning person, that probably means you're staying up too late.
Yeah, it starts the night before.
It really does start the night before.
You can master the morning if you go to bed the night before.
And here's another thing is, just pick a song you love. Pick a song that gets you going, that inspires you, and just play it early. Because it'll just be like muscle memory. You can't help it. You cannot help it if you listen to some good music in the morning.
If you're in bed by 10, you should be up by 6. That's 8 strong hours.
Oh, yeah. If you're sleeping more than 8 hours, like, what are you really doing with yourself? That means you're spending more than 1/3 of your time unconscious.
Get off the bandwagon.
Why do you keep pushing to get off the bandwagon, Reg? What, the sleep bandwagon? Yep. Are these mistakes? I don't know what's happening anymore. This show's just out of control. Get off the bandwagon. You new to this morning game. Next one we have.
No sleep, son.
Is from David. What are some run signs to look for when dating? He's got some follows. We'll let you start there.
Run signs
to look for.
What happens with the phone at night?
This is great. This is one of the most insightful things you've ever brought to the people.
Is the phone in a shoe?
Is it in a drawer?
Is it in another room?
Is it visible?
Is it on airplane mode?
Yeah.
Because when you're not there, guess where the phone is? In the bed.
Right. Within arm's reach. People sleep with the phone within arm's reach of them. Do you sleep with the phone within arm's reach of you?
Unless I have to charge it up.
But I buy the extra long cord just so I can have it within arm's reach.
No, there's sometimes I purposely do that.
Well, that's the thing. You're supposed to charge your phone so you cannot reach it from your bed. That is what you're supposed to do.
Correct. I do that as much as possible, and I try not to get into the bed unless I'm fully ready to go to sleep.
Here's another piece of dating advice. If you think the person that you just recently met and there's a romantic connection and you guys are flirting, if you think that person has not seen every single one of your posts on Instagram, then you are fooling yourself. And if you think that they are not forming their own opinions about you, judging you, tailoring their Instagram post for something that they think you will like, then you are fooling yourself. Yep. Says the guy who started dating his wife before the internet.
Also, enjoy. Have fun. Don't allow what other people around it. Here's the advice. It takes courage to be happy.
Ooh, explain.
So many times, and rightfully so, we take the pulse of everybody around us. What does social media think? Family and friends think. Do whatever makes you happy. Don't overanalyze it or overthink it.
Get off the bandwagon.
Get off the happiness bandwagon. Juan has this question in all caps. First, lowercase. We all saw the IG photo in all caps. When is the Podfather coming on the show? Give the people what they want.
What IG post?
Oh, you're not on Instagram. Bill put a picture of the three of us up.
Oh, that's love. Last night?
Yeah.
Did you put it up too?
No.
Why?
Because we
can't be on your IG?
Here's the thing.
You can't remix it? Resend it?
I've got about 10,000 followers on Instagram, and Bill's probably got 10 million. So anyone that sees it when I post it has already seen it. That's basically how it works.
Got it.
When is the Podfather coming on the show? He's got the open invite.
Yes,
we built
indeed.
the studio. This studio was built for the Podfather to be in, literally.
Yes.
The Podfather's existence is what
Right.
built this studio.
Right.
And what made, he can come on whenever he wants.
No question.
We basically ask him when we can do our show.
Preach.
That's kind of how it works. Next is from Mighty Too Clear. I don't know if we have time for this one. Can you bring us behind the curtain of how the show works? Scripts, sound effects, producers, and then he says, I'm a person. We could. It would take a long time.
It's kind of like hot dogs.
Yeah, it's just enjoy the product.
Yes.
Enjoy the product.
You don't want to know what goes into it.
A lot of work goes into it. And I did do stand-up comedy for a long time, and one thing that they teach you is you want the feeling to be that the person on stage is just an extremely funny person that's coming up with jokes off of the top of their head. Like, that's what you want the feel to be, and that's what we try for here at Jalen Jacoby. But this is organized chaos. This is designed disorganization. We try hard to make it feel like we don't try hard, but we don't try that hard at trying hard.
Say that backwards.
No.
You thought about it.
Next question we have is from Moneymaker Mitch. What's your take on Karl Anthony Towns Sr. suing the Timberwolves? Does Junior get to see some of that? So I've shown you the clip. Crunch, the mascot, is doing a thing where they're sledding. A lot of sleds in Minnesota. Sleds down the stairs, ends up on the floor. It all seems fine. He doesn't bump into anybody. No big deal. However, he nudged a chair on his route down, an empty chair, mind you. That empty chair then bumped into Karl Anthony Towns' father, Karl Towns Sr. Hurt his knee. Karl Towns Sr. says he stayed at the game because he didn't want his son to look over and not see him and then be concerned. After the game, he got medical attention, and now there's potentially some pending lawsuit, litigation, mediation. It's going to take place. If you're Karl Anthony Towns Jr., do you politely ask your father not to sue the organization that's paying you millions of dollars?
You don't, because you're the star player. You're going to get your bread anyway. You are there in uniform on the court because they're paying you to play basketball. I'm sitting in the stands as a fan to support you play basketball. I didn't ask for my knee to hurt.
This just gets down to something that is, like, at the core of a lot of our discussions is I'm always baffled about people that make millions of dollars that still want more money. You know what I mean? Like, I kind of feel like I would be like, Dad, I'll cover the medical expenses. You're going to be fine. We'll get you the best care, but I would prefer that this relationship with me and my employer that pays me millions and millions of dollars, that we don't muck it up with a lawsuit from my family against them.
Why are you taking the angle that I'm messing it up for you because I'm suing the team that frivolously led to me injuring my knee?
I don't think it helps. You know what? They're not going to say, you know what? We should keep Karl around because remember that one time when his dad sued us? That was great.
You know what they're not going to say? Because his dad is suing us, we're going to trade Karl Anthony Towns.
No, of course not.
Now that works for the 15th man. It doesn't work for him.
No, he's yes. I don't think this will make or break Karl-Anthony Towns' existence at the Timberwolves, but I just kind of feel like, Dad, you got insurance. Like, we'll get you the best care. I'll make sure that you're taken care of.
No, like Chris Rock said, Karl-Anthony Towns plays on the team. He's rich. The person that owns the team is wealthy.
That's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for listening on ESPN Radio, for watching on ESPN2 and ESPN News, and subscribing.
Thank you
to the Jalen Jacoby podcast.
You're far too kind.